Well, that's quite an introduction. Well, as I was an English teacher, I can't get too far away from poetry, and so I want to share something that I think is one of the best poems ever written that talks about diversity. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as any manner of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Just one of the most powerful poems written in the English language, I think, and I think it really expresses what we've been focusing on and what this congregation seeks to do, is to pull people in and let them know they're not forgotten. And another English poem, please. Walt Whitman says, I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume you shall assume, for every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. Cool, huh? There is hope for the future. The young people of the world are leading in the quest for equality and acceptance of all people everywhere. It seems they've heard the call for a greater, more peaceful, more creative world. There are examples of these amazing young people everywhere. One of the most remarkable is Malala Yousafzai, who was born on the 12th July 1997. She's a Pakistani activist for female education, and in 2014, at the age of 17, became the youngest Nobel Prize winner. I can't remember what I was doing at 17, but it wasn't anything like that. She is known for human rights advocacy, especially the education of women and children in Pakistan. And her advocacy has grown into an international movement. On the internet, you can find hundreds of young people, as young as 7, who are changing the world. For incredible inspiration, look up myhero.com/child on the internet and read about what children are doing all over the world to help people all over the world. They don't hold back because of race or finances or sexual orientation or religion. In the words of Bilal Rajan, founder of Making Change Now and Canada's 13-year-old child ambassador to UNICEF, together we can make a difference. He's 13 years old, and he's Canada's ambassador to the UNICEF. Can you remember what you were doing at 13? Boy, the courage and inspiration and compassion of these young people is a clarion call to the rest of us to get over ourselves. By letting go of our prejudices, bigotry, and intolerance, we can create the kind of world we all want. We can learn to look at everyone as a brother or sister with the same hopes and dreams we have. We can remember that there is enough of everything, everywhere, for everyone, all the time. So the question becomes, why is it so hard to accept diversity? I'm referencing a book that I haven't had a chance to read, but somebody told me about it, called The Silk Road. And in The Silk Road, the writer talks about how from the early beginnings of people, when they began moving from hunting to gathering, they began growing crops, and then there developed a need to defend the area of their land from other people who also wanted land to grow their crops. Groups that moved out to form new colonies and have their land lost touch with the main group. It became extremely difficult, if not impossible, to communicate. And this in turn instilled in people a fear of other, a fear they will take our land, our food, our women. This fear, I think, is almost genetic. There's the basic rule of life, which is the survival of the fittest. So anyone who's not of my tribe may threaten my very existence. And you think, well, come on, that was a long time ago. Well, look at the world. I might have to fight for my life against this person or this tribe or this group. And the trick here is for us to look at what we really think. Generally, thoughts precede what we feel. Thoughts or beliefs may be conscious or unconscious. Some of our core beliefs may be buried deep below the surface of our awareness. That means it's possible we are unaware of the thought or underlying belief that might be fueling particular negative feelings about someone who's different from us. I remember one day at dinner, I was having lunch with some friends, and I asked the people that I was eating with what they thought of our new president, Barack Obama. One man said, he's only a dirty nigger. It felt like someone kicked me in the stomach. I remember realizing very clearly that this was a moment when I could remain silent or have the nerve to speak up. So I said, that's interesting. I didn't know you were a bigot. There was a silence, and then one of the women said, oh, don't worry about it. That's just the way he was raised. These feelings are based on previous experiences, individual personalities, family history, current events, current situations. Our thoughts could change about a given situation, creating a different feeling. Remember last week when Peggy Shent was talking about this whole idea of finding out what somebody else thinks, what their opinions are. As we become more open to interaction with people who are different from us, we begin to see the beauty and worth of everyone. We become clearer about how our incorrect thoughts and beliefs have caused our anxiety about others. So we think about somebody who's of a different race, like maybe they'll hurt us, or maybe they'll try to steal something from us, or, something like that, something bad, right? But then we have to say, wait. So the question then is, why should we strive for diversity? What's the good of it? What good comes from diversity of race, ethnicity, gender, and sexual orientation? I mean, if I say, that person's a transgender, strange person, then what happens there? That shuts the door for any possible interaction between me and that person who may have just the idea, just the answer to something that, like, the community's trying to figure out. Or some question that I've always had that helps me understand. Research has shown that social diversity in a group can cause discomfort, rougher interactions, a lack of trust, greater perceived interpersonal conflict, lower communication, less cohesion, more concern about disrespect and other problems. So what's the upside? Diversity enhances expertise. For example, if you were going to build a new car, would you just hire people who work in the machine shop in a car factory? I mean, thinking about you're going to create a new car. Well, how do you think they build a car in the first place? They need engineers, they need designers, quality control experts. They need all of these different people to put together a car. It's not just a bunch of guys standing on a production line to get a car created and made. So if you want to build teams or organizations capable of innovating, you need diversity. And you know, looking at the world today, we need innovation about a lot of things, you know, about our food and our water and our soil and our air and everything around us. Another thing that diversity does, it enhances creativity. It encourages the search for novel information and perspectives, leading to better decision-making and problem-solving. Diversity can improve the bottom line of companies and lead to unfettered discoveries and breakthrough innovations. The man that came up with the internet, he didn't do that by himself. Can you imagine a bunch of guys sitting around thinking, what if we, and they just started talking. Have you ever done that with somebody? What if we did this and this and then, oh yeah, we could do that. And then somebody else could say, no, but wait a minute, you could do this. You know how it works. Even just being exposed to diversity can change the way you think. So when people come together to solve problems, they bring different information, different opinions, different perspectives. This makes obvious sense when we talk about diversity of disciplinary backgrounds, so like building a car. The same logic applies to social diversity. People who are different from one another in race, gender, and other dimensions bring unique information and experiences to bear on the task at hand. When we hear dissent from someone who's different from us, it provokes more thought than when it comes from someone who looks like us. Isn't that interesting? If an idea is broached by someone who looks different than we do, what happens? Well, you have to kind of stop and think, you know? And you gotta, see, I don't think that most of the time we stop and think about what am I thinking right now? What am I feeling? Why is this black person's comment or this Native American's comment or this gay person's comment bothering me? You know, we don't do that. We think, oh, no, wait. And we react right away. And the truth is, diversity may be able to help us save the planet. By working together, we can figure out how to stop ourselves from poisoning our land and water and air. We can figure out how to provide safe, healthy food and water for everyone. That's not a pipe dream. We could do that. We can do that. By sharing ideas, we can figure out how to use the resources of Mother Earth so that there is enough of everything for everyone, everywhere, all the time. We could do that. You know, think about the planet. Just think about it. Think about the planet. It's not a big ball that's just sitting there. It's an active, moving thing, you know? Boy, you ever watch National Geographic and Smithsonian on TV, you see stuff about volcanoes and stuff, you know? It's in rivers and all this kind of incredible stuff that happens on planet Earth all the time. It's an alive thing. And if it's alive, it can respond, and it does, to what we think and do to it. Duh. And finally, I think that diversity can help us bring about peace in the world. And I don't believe this is a pie-in-the-sky Pollyanna view of things. As a student of metaphysics and the power of the mind, I know that thoughts have power. And so do you. I haven't mastered this power, and some of you probably feel that way too. But I'm not giving up on the idea. I've seen the power of thought and action all around me all the time, and so have you. Whether it's a negative, hate-filled, angry thought or a loving, peaceful, hopeful one, I know it has the power to create circumstances and conditions in the outer world. It's just that simple. What we think, we can see out there. It's like, how come we're all sitting here together in this room at this time? What's the point? Because we have thought about this and we've sent out those thoughts, and other people have said, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And they've come, and here we are, we're going, okay, we kind of agree on this thing that the mind has power. Okay. Are we diverse people? Are we different? Of course, But look what's happened. We're all here together trying to figure out together how to do all this. Bring about peace on the planet. These are incredible times. We're witnessing a great change and brought about by a huge divide in the way we all see the world and our future. It seems like everything is up for negotiation. Our senses are stirring with action and motion, with the need to come together. Humanity appears to be in peril. This is a time to reflect on what we believe in as individuals and how we see the evolution of man to cherish the spiritual consciousness which guides our souls. Life here on earth is unique for every one of us. Our views depend on where we're physically located. People, my daughter Catherine can attest to this. People in Las Cruces look at the world differently than people in Houston, especially when they're driving. Our lives depend on our financial status, our spiritual beliefs, our religion, our ancestry, our life experiences, our courage, our health, and a host of other factors. However, deep inside all of us is the knowledge that we are truly all connected by our humanity. Think about that. Go inside for a moment. Is that true for you, that we are all truly connected by our humanity? If we've got 2 legs and 2 arms and 2 eyes and 2 ears, and we walk around and carry on and act like fools and saints, aren't we kind of all together in this? So, is there any hope for our species? I have to say yes. Unlike any other creature on earth, we have the power to change our thinking from our survival to all-inclusive flourishing of all life forms. We can remember that we're all in this existence together. To continue to evolve and accomplish that which we came to do and be, we must heal our own fears, and that's not easy. And we've got to be honest enough to look at what our fears really are. We must let go of all hatred and bigotry. As we do this, we slowly but surely will come to see everyone as part of ourselves. The more we see everyone else as our brothers and sisters, the sooner peace will come. Our lives are purposeful when we give them purpose. Keeping our minds centered, balanced, and focused can become challenging without certain ingredients to help us cope in a healthy way. Looking inward, remembering what we've learned, what our own truths are, can be a big help. Wait. When I went to church last Sunday, what was it they said about being peaceful? Oh yeah, I remember now, We can slow down. We can engage in meditation and prayer. We can exercise, listen to music, go out and enjoy nature, write, paint, and any activity that reminds us that life also holds joy, wonder, and excitement. It's not a trivial thing to call a friend and say, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee. So you spend an hour with this friend having a cup of coffee. you're peaceful, you're laughing together. Is that insignificant? I don't think so. It adds to the positive, creative energy. You know, it's just like we're always all sending out waves. I see you, you know. Well, I do that because he's so cute. Anyway. The anxiety in the air is palpable for those who live their life from the source. It becomes a necessary practice to acknowledge and fearful where fearful energy is originating from. And that means we have to look at ourselves and where our own fear is coming into play. We have to be able to find the joys in life to meet its challenges. When we learn to heal our own minds from negative thinking, we start creating again. And that's, well, we're always creating, whether it's negative thinking or positive thinking. But as we let go of our negative thinking, then we begin to create the positive experiences and atmospheres that we want to have. When we create, our lives begin to evolve. As we learn new concepts and ways of living, we share. As we share, we turn on the light for others to have the same courage. We have a spiritual experience that's just waiting to be nourished and held dear. A light-filled journey the soul is happy to bring to us if we ask. Educating the mind of those things unseen but felt and heard can be a saving grace to the life we may feel we incarnated here for. In other words, you know, one of the things that I have discovered that's the most powerful question for me is, why am I here? What's my purpose? I mean, all of humanity always goes, why are we here anyway? You know, but there's another kind of question that's deeper and more profound and more creative. Why am I here? Do you ever ask yourself that? What are you doing here? What are you here for? Well, if you're sitting in a new thought center, you're here to do something positive or you wouldn't be here. The souls who realize that humans evolve spirituality will create the future before it gets here. We can create the future right now. And we go, oh man, I don't know if I have the power to do that. No, you don't. All of us together do. We are walking, talking beings with the ability to connect our hearts and minds through energy and thought. We will learn how to speak up and speak out for what we believe in. When we open the shiny, mystical parts of our humanity, we will recognize the future is brighter than we could have imagined. In the same consciousness, I invite you to join with me in meditation. Taking a deep breath, go within to that place of power and peace. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion, too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one.